Hey, welcome to Football 101. It's Dave Wyman, and we're going to look at a play that the defense made. Interception for Bobby Wagner, and anytime a linebacker gets an interception, it's time to celebrate. I always love seeing that. Hopefully next week we'll get KJ with an interception, but Bobby gets a great interception here, and on the TV broadcast the guy said it was easy. I'm like, it wasn't quite that easy, and I'll show you how one little step really made this play happen in Bobby's drop, and he really set himself up and kind of baited the quarterback a little bit to throw that ball. But first of all, let's start off with what the offense has out here for the 49ers. This is in their 12-9 victory over the 49ers, and what they had here was one running back and two tight ends. So it's called 12 personnel. The first number is the number of running backs. The second number is the number of tight ends. And why that's significant is it allowed the Seahawks to put in what's called big nickel. They probably have another name for it, but big nickel is you take a linebacker out and you bring in a strong safety instead of a corner. So if there were more receivers, they would probably bring a corner in, but this gives an opportunity for Bradley McDougald, number 30, to come in and play, because two tight ends usually indicates that there's a higher probability that there'll be a run. So you want a bigger, more physical player, and Bradley McDougald can play up in the box, can play the big boy football and take on guys and play the run as well. So got him a chance to get in the game, and he's a guy that signed a one-year deal here. And, you know, he's not had the great opportunities to get on the field so far. He had 3 snaps defensively in Green Bay and 6 this week. So hopefully they'll get him more involved, because he's pretty much seen to be a starter pretty much anywhere in the league. So getting him on the field is really cool. Liked seeing that. So what the offense has is, so they got empty backfield set. And they end up motioning a tight end over here, which we'll talk about in a second. But, you know, it's obviously a throwing situation. So cover one is what the Seahawks are playing on the other side of the ball. And what that is it's man-to-man coverage, and you got two guys that are free. Bobby Wagner, and sometimes they'll call him a robber or a spy, but he's free in the middle of the field, and same thing with Earl Thomas over the top. He's just basically reading the quarterback's eyes. And so cover one is basically man-to-man underneath with a little bit of help from these two guys. And a couple of things to look at. First of all, Cam Chancellor is up on the line. This tight end backs off and goes across, and he's up on the line ready to just take him on and run with him wherever he goes. When he motions over here so that they're in this set where they're close together, a lot of times what offenses will do is they'll try to get these receivers to run routes that knock off the coverage. So, and they have all kinds of little euphemisms like rub route and things like that. They're euphemisms for cheating, because they're trying to pick off the defenders and not allow them to get to their coverage. So what Cam does, and I got the word help in here, he helps himself on this play by, instead of being up on the line on him, because then these two guys could possibly run into each other when they run routes, he just backs off and kind of staggers himself. And you see them do that a lot when there's man-to-man coverage and there's a bunch of receivers in a tight spot. They'll try to run pick routes and things like that, but if you just get, he's about 5 yards back here, he allows, there's some space so that when they run their routes, and turns out that Bradley McDougald jams this guy and covers him easily. Same thing with Cam. So he really helped himself out there as far as, you know, putting himself in a position to help himself. So the other thing is, KJ Wright is lined up out here on Carlos Hyde, the running back, and he gives himself some help by knowing where his help is. Where's your help? It's inside. It's Bobby Wagner and Earl Thomas, and so he lines himself outside and kind of lets this guy run inside. So he takes away the outside knowing he's got help in here. The other thing, as far as the word help goes, who does Earl help? And this is, they have different you know, ways of running their defense every week, but typically the rule is for a safety that's free, he's going to look around and see who has the toughest matchup. A corner running with you know, a receiver, not a tough matchup. Tight ends with safeties is not a tough matchup if you think those guys can cover. But usually you'll look for the linebacker and help him out. That's just sort of a general rule that safeties will have there. And then with Bobby, him and Earl both just read the quarterback's eyes, and Hoyer is looking this way. And so Bobby kind of drops this way, same thing with Earl. But what Bobby does really well at the last second is he takes one little step right towards where Hoyer is trying to look him off. And it's enough just to sell Hoyer to throw the ball here. And even though he takes that little step to his right, he kind of loads up. If you watch it and go watch the replay, they have an end zone shot. And he takes one more little step this way, which sells Hoyer to throw the ball over there. But if you watch him closely, he's kind of loading up and getting ready to propel himself back this way and get right in the throwing lane. So I think that one little step right there is what made this interception happen. And like I said, the guy on the broadcast said that's an easy catch. Well, it was an easy catch because it was a pretty bad throw by him, and it sort of was right in Bobby's breadbasket. You know, he caught it right with his hands in his stomach. But I think he made that happen with that one little last step, loads up, and then comes over and picks it off. And then he has the run back, and I'm sure he's going to get a lot of heat from guys that he didn't see the guy that hit him and he fumbled. But that's always the case in the defensive room. Give guys a hard time about their run back. But Bobby made a great play, and the whole thing happened because he just took one little step.